everybody, I'm Lara Trump coming to you from Studio 45 at Trump Tower in New York City. In the debate over the illegal immigration crisis, something has become categorically undeniable. Democrats fully support open borders. Joining me to discuss the border crisis and the role of the Democrats is a U.S. Army veteran and a national security analyst, Brett Velicovich. Brett, thanks so much for joining me. We like having you on with us, so welcome back.
Hey, good to see you, Laura. Thanks for having me.
So Fox News recently published an op-ed that you authored claiming the humanitarian disaster is the inevitable result of the open borders agenda of the political class in Washington. Tell me a little bit about that. What did you mean by that?
Sure. Well, look, the whole point of the op-ed was really to highlight the dramatically worsening crisis at the border and really to show that, we're getting to the point of no return when it comes to this crisis. I mean, this is something that's going to affect us for decades to come. And this delusion by Democrats that this must be some sort of politically manufactured crisis is just absolutely absurd. I mean, more than 100,000 people were caught crossing the border just this last month. That's the highest level we've seen in over a decade. And those are just the ones that were caught. I mean, the truth is, Lara, we are being overrun. Okay, our federal resources are being drained, and we barely even know anything about the people coming across. If this keeps up, more illegal immigrants are going to enter our communities this year alone than the entire populations of Vermont and Wyoming combined. Wow. So this is no longer about, the morality of us protecting other people's citizens. It's no longer about right versus wrong, left versus right. This shouldn't even be a political issue. It's about the safety of our own citizens. I mean, the crisis is straining nearly every aspect of our U.S. operations along the border. Everything from our immigration courts being overwhelmed, health services being backed up, Border Patrol cannot, patrol because they're dealing with so many administrative issues. Shelters are at max capacity. The bottom line is that we just need to take appropriate measures to keep Americans safe. And when you really look at all of it, it seems to me that the president is the only one taking bold action to do anything about it.
Yeah, no, and it is a crisis. Listen, the Democrats try all they can to deny it. The media tries to downplay it, to say it's a manufactured crisis. But to your point, the amount of people that we have coming over our southern border illegally it should be terrifying to people in this country. We're poised to have over 1 million people illegally enter this country that we know about this coming year. Now, the Democrats have controlled the House for over 100 days. Surging illegal immigration is the greatest crisis that we've faced in that time, yet they have done absolutely nothing. Now, don't you think, Brett, that this is just proof of their open borders agenda and that they're willing to do anything to, I guess, get new voters? What do you think is happening here with these Democrats?
Well, it's worse than them doing nothing. I mean, they openly deny that there's even a border crisis in the first place. Okay? I mean, that's just absurd. They put their hatred of the president and of the Republican Party over their country. I mean, they're unfit for office. Look at Beto O'Rourke as an example of this. Okay, he wants to tear down the wall in El Paso. He says El Paso is one of the safest cities in America, so we don't need a wall. But what he doesn't understand is that, it used to be one of the most violent cities in America.
Right.
I grew up in Texas. Like, you didn't want to go to El Paso during that time because of the violent crime rates. But yet crime went down once we built that wall. And, these politicians are so naive about the bad elements coming across. It's ridiculous to me. I mean, anyone that says walls don't work, I mean, they're morons. They're either deliberately lying, they're playing politics, or they're just simply ignorant of all the facts that CBP and ICE put together on a weekly basis. And I can't understand why they won't listen to the government agencies that are providing them with these facts. We've reached the point now where we've got over 3,000 illegal immigrants coming across every single day. Not to mention, the effects of that. Communities across America are being devastated by violent crime, drug trafficking. That's a result for our failure to control the border. And take a step back for a second. I mean, look at this from a purely business perspective. I'm a businessman. Okay, America, you could say, is a lot of times run like a business. Okay, illegal immigration costs taxpayers a staggering $135 billion a year. But yet, illegal immigrants last year only contributed approximately $19 billion back in state, local, and federal taxes. So if I'm President Trump, who's a successful businessman, and I'm looking at these numbers, I'm thinking this is just one big nonprofit funded on the backs of the American taxpayer. And so we've got to do something about it is the bottom line.
Yeah, well, it certainly seems that way. But of course, Brett, the Democrats want to have it both ways with sanctuary cities by blocking deportations by ICE. But when the president calls for shipping illegal immigrants to sanctuary cities, they say that it's reckless and cruel and we can't do that. What is your reaction to that? What do you think of that idea that the president has?
Well, I mean, he just burned them this last week and he said that, and they're losing their minds. I mean, my thoughts are it's time for the congressional Democrats to put their money where their mouth is. Okay. Think about their argument, right? The whole purpose, according to Democrats, for a sanctuary city is not to be cruel. Okay. It's supposedly a place where illegal immigrants can go and feel safe. They can leech off the government. They can get all these social services without any legal consequences of being turned back. So if you hold that argument, why would you want any of the illegal immigrants going to non-sanctuary cities? If you sent 3,000 a day to non-sanctuary cities, then that would basically be cruel, because what you're doing is you're sending them to a place where ICE has the ability to find them and then send them back. But of course, Democrats aren't going to do that, and they're losing their minds. And that's because these states that are sanctuary, that have these sanctuary cities, they can't even take care of their own people. It's bankrupting their economies.
Even Cher agrees with that. So, I mean, if she says it, and we know how she generally feels about the president,
that should tell you, I mean, that you're changing the mindset of these voters that wouldn't normally, lean right. And that the problem is that, they're thinking with their emotions instead of their brains. Okay, right. At the basic level of this argument, when you take away all the stuff that's political, how are we going to take care of these illegal immigrants? Where are they going to stay? Who's going to feed them? How are we going to house them? How are we going to provide them with medical benefits that they need? And it's dangerous for them to even come to the border in the first place, but yet they're being told it's okay. And so I think voters, when they really look at this, they're finally starting to see the facts, and that they've been sold this lie by the Democrats for so long.
Yeah, and some Democrat candidates for president, Brett, have called for decriminalizing illegal border crossings. And as you just pointed out, with Robert Francis O'Rourke, also known as Beto O'Rourke, tearing down the existing sections of the wall that the president is having rebuilt and expanded. I mean, the contrast between them and President Trump, I don't think could be any more clear. But how do you think this is going to play out as we move forward?
Well, you're right. The contrast couldn't be more clear. I mean, the president, he's trying to enforce the laws. He's trying to also change the laws to make it better. But the reality is even enforcing these laws are becoming more and more difficult. I mean, the judicial system is at the brink of collapse when it comes to this crisis. It's completely broken right now. We have record high levels of people coming in, and the potential voters need to have this in the back of their mind. And it's not even just illegal immigration that's the problem here. That's unsustainable. Okay, we haven't even talked about the drug epidemic, the amount of drugs that are coming across. I mean, which is why the wall is even more important to be built, because what it does is it frees up resources for the Border Patrol to actually focus on drugs as well. But yet they're so focused on all these ridiculous administrative issues. But, in the end, the thing that ticks me off, I think, the most, just about how much focus we've had to put on this crisis, and no matter how many times the Democrats want to stop us from fixing this problem, the thing that ticks me off the most is that we have so many other problems in our own country that we're not even able to focus on because we're too busy trying to focus on this problem. We have veteran issues, veteran homeless rates. There's 22 veterans on average committing suicide every single day. We have an opioid epidemic, and we're not even focused on our own people right now. We're focused on people that aren't even from our country that are disrupting this process. And I just wish that we could stop all this and do something before it's too late.
Yeah, I don't think you're alone in that. I think the good news, Brett, is that we do have a president who, instead of kicking the can down the road like his predecessors did when it came to illegal immigration, saw that this was a problem well before he became president, knew that he was going to have to address it, and knew that he wanted to try and fix it. So at least we are understanding the situation at hand, whereas presidents before him have really done nothing about it and not addressed it in this degree, in this capacity. But we really appreciate you coming on again, and we hope that you will come back and join us soon, Brett.
Yeah, I would love to. Thanks, Laura.
As President Trump fights relentlessly to end the border crisis, the Democrats have proven to completely support open borders as the crisis intensifies. That's the real news for today. I'm Lara Trump from Studio 45 at Trump Tower in New York City. Thanks for joining us, everybody.